Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands, and today is WNR475. It's NXT Update, Spring Breakkin, and I am all alone for this one. Don't panic, though, everything is fine. Monty's sending a lot of love. We are expecting a WNR baby, not Monty and I, obviously Monty and his partner, and we're sending best wishes and love, and we hope Monty can be back with us, of course, next week when we have a massive weekend when we've got 3 set of predictions: NXT Battleground, of course, Double or Nothing, and Night of Champions. But mentioned NXT Battleground, it's NXT Update today, so let's catch up with it then. 5 episodes, and we will be Spring Breakkin. So here we go, big everybody. April 18th, and we start with the NXT Tag Team Championships. Gallus, the champs, versus the Creed Brothers versus the Dyad. And a brawl between the teams began before the show. Multiple officials stayed at ringside for the match to ensure the action was contained. Julius Creed and Brutus Creed were distracted by an injury to either Niall, thanks to Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler. Wolfgang and Mark Coffey hit the distracted Brutus with the elevated single-leg dropkick combo to take the win. Now, this was a statement made by Grizzled Young Vets, but all 3 teams showed out. Credit for Kreese to hanging with these teams, and the Grizzled Young Vets called out Aussie Open with the Corrales as well. Noam Dar made his, well, let's call it his NXT debut versus Miles Bourne. This, of course, was showcasing what it's like living in the Supernova universe. I think everything's alright now. Noam is back in the truths with Nathan Frazier. Frazier told everyone he realised he needed to keep moving fast to succeed. Well, I'll tell you what he needs is personality. Odyssey Jones headed to the ring for a match, but Bron Breakker planted him with a spear. Duke Hudson confronted the former NXT champ from the crowd and challenged him to fight Andre Chase next week. Duke really shone in a row, and that is the end of Odyssey Jones on NXT. Roxanne Perez versus Zoe Stark. Stark talked a big game, but she was caught by Pop Rocks in the corner to lose. Indy Hartwell arrived afterwards and challenged Roxanne Perez to a match at Spring Breakkin. Tiffany Stratton took offence, though, which led to a triple threat match being set up. Pretty Deadly, yes boy, explained their attack on Tony D and Channing Stacks before challenging the family to a rematch in a no rules match. Cora Jade versus Gigi Dolan, where of course JC Jane jumped on the apron early in this match and Gigi beat her down for it. Booker was taken out. Booker had a very unfortunate NXT update being taken out by most of the wrestlers at ringside. Distraction allowed Cora Jade to hit Dolan with a huge running knee and DDT to win. Live Valkyrie ruined Jade's celebration promo and challenged her for next week. Mr. Stone finally got Wagner to open up backstage, which seemed to cause the manager to have second thoughts about stop representing him. We see a vignette in the style of a comic book for Axiom. We promised to put scripts behind him immediately. Our boy Hank Walker celebrated Tank Ledger at the Performance Center. Ledger told Danny Palmer that she would have a special moment when she debuted on the main roster. Apollo Crews versus Dijak. Well, Crews tried to fight off the powerful display of Dijak, but he's overwhelmed. Hard Justice took the win with Feast Your Eyes, but Ilya Dragunov stopped inflicting more damage afterwards. Eddie Thorpe talked about his NXT future and Mackenzie Mitchell, and Damon Kemp interrupted to congratulate him. A new look Jensen challenged Briggs to a mixed tag match. Jensen actually looked better. NXT North American Championship Wesley versus Charlie Dempsey. Well, Gulak tried to insert himself at key moments, but Wesley caught him with an uppercut for planting Charlie Dempsey with the cardiac kick. The two heels laid out Lee after the bell, but good to see Dempsey given a chance. Tony D and Channon decided they wanted to lose to Pretty Deadly next week in the first ever trunk match. NXT showed a vignette for the main event for Obafemi's debut next week. Grace Waller told Mackenzie Mitchell in an interview backstage he was certain he would be NXT champion by the time Spring Breakkin ends, and the Grayson Waller effect turned against the host quickly as both Hayes and Williams talked to him about his losses on the big stage. The Australian responded with confident jabs, certain he would win when it mattered. So let's find out then. April 25th, Spring Breakkin. They showed a Spring Breakkin picnic party with members of the NXT roster having a good time. Ivan R built some dude in an arm wrestling competition. More wrestlers in the NXT roster talked about matches and storylines, while Debo Cater chased our boy Harvey around. Cato tossed Big Body Harvey into the fountain of water to end the opening sequence. Trunk match, Tony D and Stacks versus Pretty Deadly. Yes, boy. And Pretty Deadly were cheated out of this. I don't want to be called biased yet again, but come on. Pretty Deadly put Stacks in the trunk of the car, right? Then Stacks sprayed a fire extinguisher in Pretty Deadly's face. How is that legal? Tony hit Wilson with a crowbar. Tony and Stacks hit a double team spine buster on Prince through a table. It's not a tables match. And Tony and Stacks put Prince in the trunk with Wilson and shut the lid for the win. But Pretty Deadly put their opponent in the trunk first. But the travesty of justice went unnoticed. But going out the right way. In the old days, they would have had a couple of years and a couple of more reigns. But they are ready for the main roster. And the sign in the crowd, pretty good actually. Tiffany Stratton was shown arriving in to let us know tonight is Tiffany's time because she's going to win the title. Andre Chase was shown getting ready for his match with Duke Hudson, motivating Chase, but saying he was an inspiration for all Chase U. Andre said he's going to give Bron Breakker a Chase U size arse whooping. Well, it didn't really work, to be fair. Black tights for Bronze because he's a heel versus Andre Chase. Chase hit Russian leg sweep followed by Chase U stomp attempt, but Bron caught the second stomp, hit a clothesline, the press power slam, and then applied the Steiner recliner, and Chase tapped out. Mackenzie Mitchell was outside in the parking garage. Io Dragunov was shown arriving. Dijak attacked him with a kick and sent Dragunov to a bunch of ladders. Dijak asked if the pain made him feel alive. Dragunov shut the garage door on Dragunov's chest. Dijak shut the garage door on Dragunov's chest. Some reason the official broke it up and pulled the garage door off Dragunov. Big mistake. You won't like here when he's angry. Lyra Valkyrie versus Cora Jade. I mean, I nearly had an epileptic fit with Lyra's entrance. I don't know about anybody else. They should really give a seizure warning. Jade grabbed her Kennedy stick. The referee grabbed it from her. Lyra missed a kick. Jade hit a chop block to the ring, leading to a DDT for the pinfall win after about 9 minutes. Lyra just needs time, I think. Grayson Waller and NXT champion Carmella Hayes was shown walking backstage in different parts of the building for the match next. And they showed Tony D and Stacks driving a car while Pretty Deadly was making noise on the back. Didn't know the match continued, or are they going to murder him? You know, don't worry, I have rang the police, everybody. NXT Championship match, Carmella Hayes versus Grayson Waller. Mello's first title defense was a banger. What wasn't there with Bron was there with electric from the start. Waller cleared off the commentary table, punched Hayes a few times, and hit the Shane McMahon top rope elbow through the table. You see Waller sent Hayes back in, got a 2 count, great near fall. Hayes came back with a code-breaker double knee attack. Waller left the ring and drove Mello's throat into the bottom rope. He tried to get in, but he sold a right leg injury. So Hayes super kicked him, went up top, and hit nothing but net for him to win. Great stuff. He did a post-match promo saying he wants to face Bron Breakker at Battleground. He said he didn't care if Bron wants it, Hayes wants it, and it was Mello's neck of the wood. Bron's music hit, and he appeared in the ring behind Hayes and Williams. He tackled Trick with a spear. He hit a press pass on Hayes and left applied the Steiner recliner to Trick as well. Hayes left the ring, so Bron hit a spear that put Hayes in for part of the set in the back of the building. Officials checked on Hayes to help him. Yes, Bron breaks something again. Video package aired featuring Roxanne Perez talking about how she was dreamt of being a wrestler her entire life. Joe Coffey was shown talking on the phone with Joe Gacy of Schism, joined by Ava. Gacy said that they want their buddies of Dyad to have a tag team title match. Gacy and Ava suggested Gacy face Joe Coffey. The stipulation with the winner gets the title match. Joe Coffey agreed. We have Brooks Jensen and Kenna James versus Josh Briggs and Alan Henley. Of course, James knocked Henley down and James tossed Jensen the bag to use, but Briggs avoided it. Jensen hit the apron and James bumped to the floor. Briggs hit a lammet on Jensen for the pinfall win. Post-match, Brooks tried to talk to Kiana, saying they were still together. James tried to slap. Brooks blocked it. Brooks thought they were in love, and Kiana said, "I never loved you." James left. Briggs was there for Jensen, and they hugged. Jensen, embrace the fact that you are a complete tool. I mean, how does get so easy? Your best friend literally just turned on you a week before. Dragon Lee was interviewed by Mackenzie Mitchell, with Dragon talking about Noam Dar. There really wasn't much to it. Script video aired, talking about his rivalry with Axiom. Video air featuring Indy Hartwell, talk about how she's going to retain the NXT Women's title, while Mud does it all come undone in just 3 seconds. There was some NXT Anonymous footage. Someone attacked Soa Ruka. I mean, come on, that killer. Femi versus Aura Mensa. This is Femi's NXT debut. Femi is 6'6" and £310. Made short work of Oro. We ain't in NXT UK anymore, Toto. Gigi Jolin went to commentary, talked to Vic Joseph. She said she'll make Jason James' life hell, and her brother will sit ringside to watch. Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey were interviewed by Mackenzie. They trashed Wesley, with Gulak saying he put a stop to Lee and become the new NXT North American champ. Gulak said it's a marathon, not a sprint. Tiffany Stratton entered for the main event. They showed Wesley, the NXT North American champ, watching a TV backstage. Bate walked up to Lee saying he thinks use a helping hand. Bate suggested he could be in Lee's corner to provide some balance. Bate suggested some pre-match meditation too. Lee agreed to it. NXT Women's Championship, Indy Hartwell versus Roxanne Perez versus Tiffany Stratton. And all I got to say is poor Indy Hartwell. You just cannot catch a break at this moment in time. It really is quite sad when you think about all the opportunities that she's had. And, you know, they've all been really unfortunate. Stratton jumped off the top with some sort of dive. Indy's right foot was caught under her. Looked like it snapped or something else. The trainer came to check on Indy. They took her to the back and it looked bad. You could tell Indy was talking to Prez. She tried to pin her. Indy came back out, a la Ric Flair, and hit a weak-looking spine buster on Stratton. Stratton body slammed Perez and hit a triple jump moonsault and landed in pinning position, turned her body to the apron. Indy was right there to break. But back in the ring, hit a running forearm to the back of Perez's head for the pinfall win. I mean, sorry about your damn luck, you know. If it was the idea was for the, you know, Indy to be drafted, though, why did she have to win? Why couldn't you call an audible at that time? Well done to Tiff and Rox for dealing with the change. To end the show, Stax and Tony D apparently murder and dump the bodies of Pretty Deadly. Night, kids. So May 2nd, the week after the draft. And who we lost in the draft? Here we go, the names of the people. Grayson Waller, Cameron Grimes, Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Apollo Crews, Jinder Mahal, Sanga, Veer, Odyssey Jones, Von Wagner, Zion Quinn, Elton Prince, Kit Wilson, Zoe Stark, JD Mc and Indy Hartwell. And I know, about half of them. It's a shame. NXT North American Championship, Wesley versus Drew Gulak to start us off on May 2nd. Drew Gulak realised in time distractions for Charlie Dempsey stay in control of this match. When Bate took out his help load, Gulak fell to the cardiac kick. After the match, Bate was clearly keeping 2 eyes glued on that title. And I tell you what, Bate's never been heel, but wants to... Can Tyler do it? I don't know, I just think he's just too gosh damn likeable. Trick Williams talked about his friendship with Carmella Hayes dating back to high school, but Bron Breakker mocked him and his friend. He agreed to a match with Mello NXT background on May 28th, as well as a match with Trick next week. Gigi Dolan versus Jacy Jayne. Dolan got too focused on hurting Jacy Jayne and celebrating with her brother. She did say that to people. Jane took advantage and sent a shoulder first in the corner still before hitting a running discus pump kick to take the win. Axiom versus Scripps. Well, the superhero countered a 450 splash with a super kick and hit the golden ratio. And afterwards, Scripps tried a cheap shot, but Axiom ripped off his mask. Have that. Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough. I mean, this is just unbelievable. This matchup in itself. Dragon Lee's been great since he's come here, and JD's going to be a great to Raw. Backstage, Noam Dar asked JD to hurt Lee on his way out. Instead, the next series warned he could take the Heritage Cup to Raw.
Dragon Lee had an answer for everything JD dished out. However, Dar did get involved, distracting Luchasaur just long enough to walk into the devil inside, costing him the match. And what a match! It felt like the old NXT, in the battles back in the day. Oh my god. Speaking of battles back in the day, well, the battle now, the Battle of Joes. As Gacy defeated Coffee to earn the Dyad and NXT Tag Championship match. A video aired on various attacks in the parking lot, questioning who could be behind yourselves. On Nikita Lyons, Wendy Chu, Sarah Ruka. I mean, you name them, they've been attacked in the car park. Tatum Paxley lost to Danny Palmer. NXT Women's title, Alba Fire and Arlette Dawn versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Of course, both teams being called to Raw and SmackDown. Seriously competitive battle. Via bash Chance into Kaden Carter, then hit Chance with a gory bomb, Russia leg sweep combination alongside Isla to retain the gold. In the main event segment, still in crutches from a recent leg injury, Indy put over how important the journey had been to her. She then announced there would be a tournament to crown a new NXT Women's Champion even at Battleground. Dexter Lumis carried Indy wrestling to the back before the women of NXT descended upon the ring, all brawling with the rise in NXT Women's Champion. Again, it is a shame for Indy Hartwell. Excuse me. May 9th, our penultimate episode. The Gold Brand opened with the NXT Women's Championship Tournament with Tiffany Stratton versus Gigi Dolan. We get the 8 women announced for the tournament, who are Tiffany Stratton, Gigi Dolan, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, JC Jane, Laura Valkyrie, Fallon Henley, and Kiana James. Dolan fought hard in this, but her taped up shoulder was a weakness. Center of the Universe, one off a rolling fireman's carry, and the prettiest moonsault ever. NXT Tag Team Championship, Gallus versus the Dyad. Ava Rain distracted Wolfgang at the right time, set up Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed for the win. However, Ivy Nile attacked Rain at ringside and distracted the Dyad. This allowed Wolfgang and Mark Coffey to hit the Gallus Gate for the win. Hey, good old NXT UK. Afterwards, Gallus confronted the Creeds about getting in the business. Later, the family challenged Gallus to a title match, but Joe Coffey refused. He said, "This is my time now." Duke Hudson beat Javier Barnell. Someone in the hood watched the attacks of Nikita Lyons when he tuned Ruka in the parking lot. Eddie Thorpe beat Damon Kemp. Dijak versus Ilya Dragunov. Well, once Dijak felt himself losing control of the action, he grabbed a steel chair, shoved the referee, and smacked him with a chair. He carried him outside, where he trapped him underneath the steel steps in a spot that actually looked quite good. I do feel sorry for Dijak, though. You do not know what you've done. In an even fight between Tyler Bate and Charlie Dempsey, Joe Gacy played the key role. After distracting Wesley, he caught the big strong boy with a right hand, which sent Bate right into a dragon suplex for Dempsey to take the win. I do believe this is a first time ever meeting. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen beat Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. To be fair to Ledger, he lost his front tooth off a big boot from Briggs and kept fighting. Noam Dar interrupted Dragon Lee's interview to invite him to Supernova Sessions. Speaking of NXT UK talk show, so to speak, in the second edition of Hard Hitting Home Truths, Nathan Fraser talked about the spots that opened up in NXT after the draft. He also called out Noam Dar. NXT Women's Tournament, Kiana James versus Lyra Valkyrie. Kiana James dominated the action throughout, targeting the ribs of Lyra. However, the Valkyrie was scrappy, still to win off a snappy roundhouse kick. Booker's voice when he did she appreciate it? Did she appreciate it? Was Booker at his best there? Was so high. Did he actually mean to hit that? Main event, Trick Williams versus Bron Breakker. Trick was rolling early in this match, pushing Bron to the fight from underneath. However, Trick spun right into a spin that set up a style of recliner. The former champ continued to attack after the bell until Carmella Hay arrives. He springboarded himself right into his spear. Trick looks better in trousers, to be fair. I mean, imagine Trick in shorts. But Bron has taken out both men leading up to Battleground. And our last episode, May 16th, we get the women's tournament, Cora Jade versus Fallon Henley. And Cora Jade found a target in the leg of Fallon and left her opponent limping. Henley was too slow to capitalise on the physical offence and fell to a DDT. Carmella Hayes and Trick Williams charged to the ring past Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey after the latter tandem opponents Wesley and Tyler Bate were unable to fight after a backstage attack by Schism. Brennan and Trick called out Bron Breakker, but Gulak and Dempsey challenged him instead. The NXT champ and his friends sent them out of the ring. The crowd chanted Willy Wonka at Dempsey in his dark purple robe. He might actually get over like that. Here, Dragunov confronted Dijak in Hard Justice's Fortress to show he was not afraid, where Dijak tortured Dragunov throughout the night, but Lazar did not break. The Creed brothers beat the Dyad, who showed their worth. Noam Dar mocked Dragon Lee on his Supernova Session show, refused to give him a shot at the Heritage Cup, but Nathan Fraser interrupted to make clear that Scott needed to defend the trophy. Three men agreed that Dar would defend the title against Dragon, but he first faced Fraser in a normal match next week. Why a normal match next week? Anyway, Carmella Hayes and Trick Williams beat Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey. Trick hit Dempsey with a discus big boot, followed by nothing but net from Mello for the win. Afterwards, Mello and Trick again called out Bron, who appeared on Titantron, revealed he was in the signature barber shop. Kiana James beat Thea Hale. Duke Hudson was taking notes at ringside. Wesley marched to the ring in an angry mood, called out Schism, Joe Gacy, and Overeem demanded a title shot, which brought out an injured Tyler Bate. Bate wanted a title shot as well, so the champion posed a triple threat match at Battleground. Dabba-Kato warned the rest of the roster that he would dominate. Watching the video backstage, Edge Sanofi was not looking for a fight, but Axiom was. NXT Women's Championship Tournament, Roxanne Perez versus JC Jane, where JC Jane fought with confidence, that version of arrogance, but Roxanne Perez made her pay for it when she ducked the discus boot and planted her opponent with the Pop Rocks for the win. After the main event, Carmella Hayes and Trick Williams hit the ring and once more called out Bron. The former NXT champ walked out security to protect Mello and Trick. After exchanging words, Breakker and Mello met in a squared circle. The A champion low-blowed his challenger, leaving both the floor dazed to end the night. So there we go. We've got one more NXT before Battleground, which we will cover next month on our NXT update. I know this is quite a short version. This is what happens when Monty's here. You know, it is an hour extra with Monty, so when it's just me, you get under half hour, which again, I don't think people are going to complain about. Of course, we are going to try, I will try to bring out an Impact pod, which is going to be a whole lot longer on Thursday. Here's hoping, but we'll definitely be back Saturday for, like I say, NXT Battleground predictions, Double or Nothing, and of course Night of Champions. But for NXT, let's have a look at NXT then, because I usually ask Monty lists and I'll try to answer. What have I thought of NXT these past 5 weeks? Well, it's going to be transitional change, isn't it? I know we've got Battleground coming up, but when you look at people like Bron Breakker, who I don't think will be around too long, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Also with Carmella Hayes as well, and Trick, I think they're obviously ready for the main roster. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody can have an impact. And what it seems at the moment as well, looking at Battleground, just announced Dijak versus Dragunov, a last man standing match. Again, NXT UK talent. Tyler Bate involved with Wesley. I know Joe Gacy, but still NXT UK talent. So it's going to be interesting times ahead, I feel, for NXT. And again, if they use the NXT UK talent, I'm more than happy. But it's not been too bad. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how Battleground goes. And then we kind of have a clearer picture as we head to NXT in the summer. So that's it then. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR. You can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com, and YouTube podcast. We have all latest clips. Podcasts at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that's it. Of course, our next episode, Impact Catch Up. Until then, our Rollins. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.